Remember December 31st, 1999, being at that party waiting for the world to end? Or maybe you were in a bunker with shelves of bullets, water bottles, and toilet paper. That night where the clock struck midnight and something crazy happened. Absolutely nothing. Kind of a letdown, huh? Don't worry, guys. Kyle Mooney makes his directorial debut with Y2K to give you a what might have been scenario of that New Year's Eve changeover from 1999 to the year 2000. That was supposed to shut down all the computer life and bring us back to the 1800s. A24 is back for another horror/dark comedy. Y2K stars Jaden Martell as Eli and Julian Dennison as Danny, who are two high school best friends who are also pretty much nobodies. Instead of watching the copy of Arnold Schwarzenegger and Danny DeVito's 1994 classic Junior that they rented from the video store, they decide to go crash the Millennium high school party on New Year's Eve 1999. The film starts a lot like Superbad. Eli has a crush on Laura, played by Rachel Zegler, and of course Laura has just broken up with her perfect ex, but still there's feelings there. Danny pushes Eli to ask her out, and of course Eli is too shy to really talk to her. But when that clock strikes midnight and the appliances take over, Eli has a chance to be the hero and get the girl. Does he? You'll have to watch the film to find out. So the main perks of this movie are the 90s references. This movie is so chock full of them that all the nostalgia, it'll make your head explode, but in a good way. It was a lot of fun reliving everything from Tommy Gucci Pets, Surge, Clinton's address on the Y2K scare, a really funny conversation about TRL, AOL dial-up, and tons more. There's a ton of Easter eggs in here. There are really bad, hilarious rap battles, one in front of a 90s style Subway sandwich shop, and a lot of rap references actually that are tons of fun, including lots, and I mean lots, of Fred Durst references, also known as the 90s rap artist Limp Bizkit. There's also a great scene where they are blowing into a N64 game to get it to work. Ah, the good old days. Alicia Silverstone is in this movie as Eli's mom, which is great, with her being in one of the most popular films of the 1990s, Clueless. And there's an insane surprise cameo that you may have already seen online, but I'm not going to ruin it for you here if you haven't. The first part of this movie is really funny and really well written. The movie as a whole is a combination of Superbad, The Breakfast Club, Maximum Overdrive, and a little bit of The Lawnmower Man. The film was also written by the director Kyle Mooney, who has written and starred in a lot of Saturday Night Live skits, and it shows in this movie. The comedy is very, very smart and quick, as you would expect for an SNL skit to be. He also plays video store clerk Garrett in the movie, and is one of the funniest highlights in this movie. He's off the wall, and you could tell that he had a lot of fun with his character making the movie. He's a trip. The film is shot like a 90s film with a lot of the same lighting style of movies like The Faculty or Disturbing Behavior and I Know What You Did Last Summer. The clothing, the hairstyle, the 90s lingo immerses you in this decade. And the music. There's a lot of Chumbawamba tub thumping in this movie. It's really hard to say. And it's glorious. The music is one of the biggest things that I loved about this movie. There are so many memorable 90s tunes that you love if you grew up in that era. And when Back to One comes on by Brian McKnight, you better hold on, because it's going to be a memorable scene. I also love the relationship between Eli and Danny. They are incredibly close, but there are two scenes that I didn't expect that bring some real depth to that relationship, unlike what you'd see between Jonah Hill and Michael Cera in Superbad, which I actually thought did a really good job. And I think that's fair to say, because even though it's a horror movie, it's more of a dark comedy. By the way, Jonah Hill is an executive producer on this film. Once the clock strikes midnight and everything goes off the rails, it seems like everything happens all at once and really, really, really fast. I like that because it gave you a sense of confusion in a way that if this really happened, you wouldn't know where to go or what to do or really understand what was going on. Pretty smart camera movement and editing for a movie where your dishwasher wants to kill you, and someone actually gets killed by a VCR ejecting a VHS copy of Varsity Blues. I felt like I was watching Maximum Overdrive again, but with a better story and much better writing, and a director who wasn't on hard drugs during the shooting of the film like Stephen King was. Well, he could have been directing Y2K on drugs. That would make a lot of sense. His character was sure on drugs. The first big electronic killer reminded me a lot of Kane in the 90s movie RoboCop 2. I wonder if that was on purpose. The screen on the robot looked kind of the same. And I feel like there's a lot of 90s movies references in this movie. Again, the first half of the movie was great, but then after the chaos, it falls a little flat. Like, the movie doesn't know where to go after the chaos scene. It started to feel like an SNL skit, especially when you see the way the electronics form to come after you. After the horror, it doesn't lose its humor, surprisingly enough, and the hero at the end, or the 90s cameo, was really fun to watch. But I feel like the end of the movie and the resolve to the whole thing was a little too easy, which they actually reference, and it was funny that they acknowledged how almost cliche the answer to defeating the artificial intelligence was. But I also wondered if that was kind of the point, to give us a solution you would see in a 90s movie like Men in Black or Independence Day with a little bit of a twist. The acting was what you would see in a movie like The Faculty, or even She's All That in a weird way. It was nice to see Julian Dennison again after Deadpool 2 and Hunt for the Wilder People. Rachel Zegler has been on fire lately with West Side Story, The Hunger Games, and now this creepy-looking Snow White adaptation. By the way, can we stop doing these Disney adaptations of classic Disney cartoons? And no one asked for Mufasa, by the way. I completely forgot that Jaden Martell even existed. I loved him in St. Vincent with Bill Murray and the movie It. And Eduardo Franco, Argyle from Stranger Things. Where has this guy been? He plays a meaner version of that pizza guy in Stranger Things, but he was really hilarious. I was actually at a special screening of this film at Alamo Drafthouse, where after the movie they did a live Q&A with the director and creator, which was interesting, where they talked about their influence for the movie, being the idea came to the director after a New Year's Eve party in 2017, not 1999, incidentally. Before the movie, they had this old-style computer screen flashing with this QR code on the side that led you to this old-school instant messenger on your phone where you could talk to the bad guy or the bad artificial intelligence from the movie, and it actually understands you. I literally talked to it for almost an hour just to see if it would stop. I ended up giving up because the movie was starting, but it kept going. It did a really good job of making the movie fun and the actual screening a lot of fun too, being very interactive. Even though the movie fell a little flat at the end, it was just fun laughing with a fully packed theater. As soon as that famous 90s microwave with wings screensaver popped up, or maybe it was a toaster, I don't remember. Anyway, you could feel it in the crowd. Every song or 90s nostalgia call out, the crowd ate it up, including me, and it was a lot of fun. Y2K is a fun movie with a lot of 90s music and call-outs to keep all the millennials warm and cozy for at least 90 minutes. It has a lot of great laughs, a lot of heart. The second part of the film feels like a ridiculous SNL skit that should have lasted a couple of minutes. It kind of runs out of ideas and heart that it had in the beginning, but it still held on to some really great humor. The first part of the film is much more enjoyable to me than the second, and if you were born after the 90s, I'm not sure you'll enjoy it as much. Maybe. It won't be a memorable movie for you, but it's a fun time if you want to spend $15. Y2K earns a solid 2.5 stars from me just for the humor alone, and that crazy, chaotic horror scene. Not one I'd probably watch again or remember in a day or two, but I enjoyed it. I had a lot of fun, especially with the crowd. How about you? Did you survive Y2K? What were your favorite 90s references if you've seen it? Let me know in the comments. Thanks again for liking and subscribing. And remember, if it's in theaters, don't wait till it streams. Let's go to the movies and see it together.
I get knocked out, but I get up again.